Hi, I'm Isabel Ballin, and today I'll be walking through a recent environmental disaster in Veracruz, Mexico. This event involved factors like climate change, infrastructure failure, and ecological damage. In early October 2025, a series of intense storms hit the region of Veracruz. One of the worst affected areas was the town of Alamo, located near the Pantapac River. The heavy rainfall caused widespread flooding, and in the process, a Pemex oil pipeline was damaged, likely by a landslide triggered by oversaturated oil and running water. This led to an oil spill that contaminated the river for nearly 8 kilometers downstream, affecting communities that rely on drinking water and agriculture. Here you can see a picture of the aftermath of damaged homes in Costa Rica. Over the course of 5 days from around October 6th to 11th, torrential rain swept across east to central Mexico, and as we said before, Alamo had the most damages. The Costa Rica-Madero pipeline, operated by Pemex, was compromised due to the unstable ground conditions caused by the flood. The rupture released 2.7 million liters of crude oil into the Pantapac River, which is equivalent to more than an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And tragically, at least 76 people lost their lives and dozens more went missing. Over 100 communities were cut off from road access, leaving many stranded or forced to evacuate. This oil spill also placed hundreds of plants and animal species at risk. Flooding is rarely caused by a single factor, and in this case the immediate trigger was extreme rainfall, but underlying issues made the situation worse. Deforestation and land conversion have stripped the region of its natural ability to absorb water, urban development have replaced permeable soil with concrete, increasing runoff, and globally, climate change is intensifying weather patterns, making storms more frequent and more severe. So one of these factors, just like in the October 2025 oil spill that we're talking about, floods can easily be caused by heavy rainfall. So when rain falls faster than the ground can absorb it, or when drainage systems are overwhelmed, flooding becomes inevitable. This is especially true during slow-moving storms that linger over one area. According to NOAA, saturated soils and overflowing rivers can turn even short bursts of rain into flash floods, particularly in urban communities where pavement and buildings prevent water from soaking into the ground. Human development has dramatically reshaped Veracruz's landscape. Between 1970 to 2016, urban areas expanded over 400 square kilometers, often into flood-prone zones without proper planning. Southern Veracruz lost up to 86% of its wetlands, which once acted as natural sponges for excess water. And today, more than 60% of the region's hydrological basins are degraded, meaning that the land can no longer manage the way it used to. Climate change is also a major driver behind the increasing unpredictability of Mexico's weather. As greenhouse gases warm the atmosphere, it holds more moisture, which leads to heavier rainfall. This disrupts the natural water cycle, causing longer dry periods followed by intense storms. Warmer air also dries out the soil, making it less absorbent when rain finally comes. These conditions create a cycle where drought weakens the land, and then when sudden downpours come, it overwhelms it. The consequences of flooding go far beyond just water damage and oil spills. Wildlife suffers from drowning, disease, and habitat destruction. Riverbanks erode, and runoff carries pollutants into oceans, as well as runoff from sediment, including pesticides, sewage, and industrial chemicals, and these pollutants can trigger harmful algal blooms, which further degrade ecosystems and pose health to both wildlife and humans, and floodwaters can create stagnant pools that become breeding grounds for mosquitoes, increasing the risk of spreading diseases like cholera and hepatitis A. Flooding is not new to Mexico, and this 2025 event in October is not the first. Coastal states like Veracruz are especially vulnerable due to their proximity to the Gulf of Mexico. The World Bank reports that storms and floods are among the most frequent natural disasters in the country. Research shows that since 1981, rainfall from tropical cyclones has become more intense and widespread, with some storms affecting areas as large as 6,900 square kilometers. And as you can see in this image, all the blue, which is storms, are followed closely by floods, which are the light blue, and you could see all these dots of storms and floods mainly around the coastlines. So furthermore into data analysis, Mexico's disaster profile includes not just floods and storms, but also earthquakes. And similar to storms that can amplify floods, so can earthquakes. Earthquakes can shift the ground, disrupt drainage systems, and alter water flow, making floods even worse. And this highlights the need for integrated disaster planning that considers multiple hazards, not just storms. To understand today's risks in October 2025, we need to look to the past. The 1999 floods in Veracruz were devastating, but researchers argue that they were also a product of social vulnerability. So looking into the past helps us see the progress of old storms to new storms and seeing how things have changed and how things haven't. Poor urban planning, lack of coordination among agencies, and inadequate warning systems are turning these natural disasters into human crises, even today. Informal settlements without proper drainage were hit the hardest, both here and today, showing how poverty and marginalization increase exposure to environmental hazards. In this particular event, around 40% of municipalities were afflicted, with 124 recorded deaths, 209,000 people suffered from material damages, and around 2,800 million pesos were lost in finances, which is around $150,000 million in USD. So, for some prevention methods, preventing future disasters like these oil spills and these floods that cause these oil spills require a multi-pronged approach. As floods can cause multiple factors, not just oil spills, this requires lots of planning and urban development with structure. In Villahermosa, poor planning has led to flood depths of over 4 meters. This is a town that is similar to Veracruz, in which it also is flood risk. A model developed for Veracruz uses spatial analysis and GIS tools to identify high-risk zones by combining land use, hydrology, and social vulnerability. Early warning signs are crucial, especially in marginalized communities. Upgrading drainage infrastructure and restoring ecosystems through reforestation can reduce runoff and improve resilience in the ecosystem. Public awareness campaigns also play a key role, as educating residents helps build pressure for policy change in the government and community preparedness. So, how can you help? While local solutions are vital, global action matters too. Reducing carbon emissions can slow climate change and lessen the severity of future storms. This can be through simple actions like installing solar panels, switching to energy efficient appliances, eating more plant-based foods, and spreading awareness all contribute to the fight against the climate crises. Thank you. And here as another example, in the 2005 oil spill, we could see workers and Pemex workers and fishermen all trying to contain an oil spill. Thank you.